So you get pulled. You're doing all this training in like '97. How long was the now spy training?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that because like the way you strike me, and I've listened to you for years now because of Danny's show, and I just think the way you break down like geopolitics and stuff is so good. But like you have this air of obviously like you're very friendly, so that's disarming.
Thank you.
But you give off this air that's completely untrue. That's an incredible tool, which is you give off an air of complete aloofness. I don't know if you know this.
No.
I mean, maybe you
I
do.
never really thought about it.
Yeah, you walk in like the guy like, oh, yeah, this place is great. Wow, how long have you been doing this? Like, you don't know a fucking thing that's going on.
No.
But you've already charted out the whole place, and you're ready to slit the throat of the family member of the guy sitting across from you and feed it to him.
Sometimes you have to do things. I'll give you an example. I'm going to skip way ahead. I'll skip way ahead. So I get to prison, right? And the judge had ordered that I be sent to a minimum security work camp. No bars on the windows, no locked doors. You're free to just come and go as you please. You're on your honor not to abscond. And they put me in the actual prison, right? The agency just, the victim, my victim objected, right? So, so I said, well, I gotta protect myself here, but I'm trained to do this. So we can come back to this, but there was one incident where the Aryans just weren't quite sure what to make of me. And so somehow this rumor got started that I was an assassin for the CIA. And I thought, I'm going to go with it. So one of the Aryans stops me in the yard and he goes, is it true you were an assassin with the CIA? And I go, hey, we all did stuff that we weren't proud of. It was wartime. And that was it from the Aryans. They're like, oh, you can sit with us at our table. I was like, okay. Until the Italian said, why you sit with those Nazi? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Keep going.
And so I was with the Italians after that. But, you just got to go with it.
Yeah, like you're it's a psychological power for sure. That's why it's so fascinating to listen to, because I can see like guys like you. What's Jim Lawler's line? He's like, I have to make people trust me to become a traitor for their country. Exactly.
Yeah. I say all the time, what makes this job so hard is you have to convince people that you are their best friend, to the point where they love you so much, they're willing to commit espionage for you.
That's right.
Or in some cases, they're willing to commit treason for you just because they love you.
What's the difference?
Espionage and treason?
I mean, when you're talking to guys in foreign countries, it's pretty much always going to be that, right?
Yeah. Espionage is, providing secrets.
That's not treason?
Treason is providing aid and comfort to the enemy. So if I recruit a guy from, Mexico to give me information on the corn harvest, which might be important to the Department of Agriculture in some way, that's not treason. It's espionage, most definitely. But treason is if I convince a Russian or a Chinese, a Cuban, a North Korean, an Iranian.
Okay.
They're going to hang for that.
All right. So there's a small distinction.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, there like we were talking about earlier with the psychological tools. I could see where they see that in you, because like you're like happy to be about the action, but you are, make no mistake about it, beneath there is a very serious guy. Like you understand implication. You're not. There's no real aloofness to you. You know exactly what you're dealing with. You just know how to have a soft exterior for people so that they can kind of be taken in by that.
And I think that's why I was successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I remember I had recruited a guy. He was in dire financial straits. And something happened in his life. I don't remember what it was, but he triggered a meeting, which was highly unusual. And I go to the meeting, and he's got a shopping bag. It has all of his wife's jewelry in it. And he said, "Can you give me $5,000 for this jewelry?" And I go, "What am I, fucking jeweler? Like, seriously?" That's what I told him. Like, what do you want me to do? I was watching on the plane yesterday. I was watching Goodfellas. Mm-hmm. You remember the scene where where Polly is, Joe Pesci, Tommy, he's just done the "what, I make you laugh" scene, and he smashed the bottle over the owner's head, and the owner goes to Polly and says, "Come on, you got to come in on the business, take a piece of the restaurant." And Polly's chomping on his cigar. He's like, what the fuck do I know? What do I know? I know how to go in the restaurant and order the meal. That's all. I don't know anything about the restaurant business. Yeah. So what? You want me to take a piece of this restaurant? It's the same situation. Yeah. You go in, I'm like, what the fuck do I know? Okay, listen, keep your jewelry. Keep your jewelry. What I need from you is, I need 2 hours in your embassy's code room. How about that?
That'll do.
Yeah, I'd rather have that than your wife's jewelry.
They should make that a Visa commercial. Priceless.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right? We good? We happy?
Yeah.
Right? Let's have a drink.
Yeah. So you get pulled. You're doing all this training in like '97. How long was the now spy training that first time? Not when you came back.
It was like 8 months, 9 months.
Okay, so you're in there.
Yeah.
Down and dirty.
Oh, yeah.
Your second wife was in CIA, right?
Yeah. Yeah, she was a senior CIA officer.
Okay, are you with her at this point, or is that
no?
Yet?
I went to Athens with my first wife, and then we split up at the end of the Athens tour.
Now, was it hard being married to someone who you really couldn't tell anything to?
Oh my God, it was awful. It was awful, especially in Athens. I mean, I was doing dangerous shit in Athens, and I remember my oldest son was like 6 at the time, and I had 7 cell phones, right? I kept them we had a rather large house, so I used one room as a den, and I kept that door locked. But he saw, when I went in one time, I have 7 cell phones. And he said, "Why do you have 7 cell phones?" And I said, "There are a lot of people that need to call me." Yeah, what are you going to say to a 6-year-old? And then he says, "Why do you carry a gun?" And I said, "Well, I have a dangerous job at the embassy." And he said, "Mikey's dad works at the embassy and he doesn't have a gun." Oh, and I said, "Well, I'm a detective at the agency. I mean, at the embassy."
Uh-oh.
And that was, I've done that more than once. And that was acceptable to a 6-year-old. But then, I'd get a call at 11 and, he says, "The rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain." And I say, "Mares eat oats and does eat oats and little lambs eat ivy," which means meet me in 3 hours at the Marriott coffee shop. And so I split. And my wife's like, "Where are you going?" "I got to work." Now, my first wife was a ballet teacher. She didn't know anything about the CIA.
Was she Greek?
Yes.
So she spoke Greek?
Yes.
So she wasn't miserable living in Greece?
No, she loved it.
Okay.
So I start a 3-hour surveillance detection route. I go to the meeting spot. We do whatever it is we're going to do. I do another 2 hours to go back. I get home 6 o'clock in the morning, just in time to take a shower and shave and go to work. Right? And she's waiting. She's like, "So, what was her name?"
She knows you're CIA, though.
But she can't wrap her brain around what it is I'm doing in the middle of the night that I can't do in the middle of the day.
Right.
And I said one time, "I have been sitting in a garbage dumpster for 2 hours waiting for somebody to throw a bag of documents at me. Do I smell like I've been with a woman? Seriously? And if I was going to be with a woman, you think I would have her call home to trigger a meeting in the middle of the night?" I said, "You have to understand what I do for a living." And she just could not accept it. And so she left.
That's hard.
Yeah.
High divorce rate in jobs like this.
The highest divorce rate of any governmental entity.
Yeah, it's interesting though that like she knew, because I've heard other stories. I think maybe I'm misremembering this, but where people say work at the State Department and they're CIA and their spouse doesn't know, and like that I can see. But like when the spouse knows, like I've never been in the CIA, and maybe I hear a lot more stories. Let's say I didn't do a podcast, but I know what the CIA is. I know they're fucking spies. I know shit's crazy. Sure. Like, it's hard to put yourself in those shoes, but like. I feel like some of that I would understand. It wouldn't make the lifestyle easier though, because your hours,
but
you're not on the clock.
It. You're not on the clock. I'll give you another example. I was winding up my tour in Pakistan, and I was dating the woman who would become my second wife.
Who's in CIA?
Senior CIA officer on the analytics side. So we had been making plans to go on vacation to Santa Fe. I had never been to Santa Fe, New Mexico, right? Everybody says it's so beautiful, great art scene, good food. We're going to go to Santa Fe. And after Pakistan, I needed to decompress. So we're coming up to my very last day. And I get a cable like 5 hours before I'm going to leave saying, don't come home. Go to this other country. There's a team waiting, and you need to break into this house and get this stuff. And I was like, fuck. So I called her and I said, I am so sorry. She said, no, I saw the cable. Go do your break-in.
She gets it.
Yeah, we'll go on vacation when we can go on vacation. And I was like, oh my God, I got to marry her. And I did.
And then that later was an issue with all the other stuff. But real quick, John, I got to run to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. We got to get into your time in Greece, working against 17N and also some other stuff there. We got to get into your time in Pakistan. You've alluded to a ton, and like 9/11, what was going on. You obviously had a... I mean, you were the guy running the Abu Zubaydah capture, so we'll get into that. And then, obviously, what happened in the transition of your career with CIA and all that. So
sounds good.
If this is going to be a new episode, we'll see you for the next episode, and please subscribe. Thank you guys for watching the episode. Before you leave, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. It's a huge help. And also, if you're over on Instagram, be sure to follow the show at Julian Dorey Podcast, or also on my personal page at Julian D. Dorey. Both links are in the description below. Finally, if you'd like to catch up on our latest episodes, use the Julian Dorey Podcast playlist link in the description below. Thank you. Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.